Hello everyone. In this video, I will be briefing you about BAN5013 R language related activities. To start with the activities, it is very important that you complete the support document. For this document, nothing is to submit, but it is very important to get yourself trained in this understanding installation of RStudio and understanding how basics of RStudio or R language can be used to create plots and graphs. So you make sure use these links to install RStudio and R language. Then start with the first link and just follow the instructions that are given in this YouTube link and finish the activity. After completing this, use the step 3 and watch this YouTube link to create some of the ggplots and developing ggplot package and developing graphs. And finally, use step 4 and similarly you follow the video that is given here and complete the activity. By completing all these activities, maybe it might take 1 hour, but you will become familiar with usage of R language and RStudio activities. By this, introduction to R language will be completed. Once this task is completed, let's go with annotation with basic graphs with ggplot. Open that and follow the instructions to complete the activity. Let us start with this tidyverse using ggplot2. So ignore the last instruction. Make sure that you start with this first use this file tidyverse using ggplot2. In this activity, what we have to do is just copy this code. Don't copy this one up to here, you just copy and I am pasting it onto the window and selecting the code and I'm running it. When we run this kind of plot is what we get. Okay, so here just try to understand what kind of activity that we have done. Iris is the package that we have taken and ggplot is sepal scpal is used and geomplot title is given as iris and we used theme light to generate it. So overall, like when we copy this code and execute it, we get this kind of screen. Okay, what is asked by the what is to be submitted here is just click here and copy the screenshot. Just you take screenshot of this one, print screen, and paste it here. Okay, sorry, print screen, it's not working. Function print screen. Give me a second. Now when you click on function print screen, you are supposed to get it. My system is a new option, so I'm getting like this. Just pressing full screen mode and I will paste it here. So it is very important to take print screen and there should be timestamp. This timestamp should be present here. Okay, so your total screen should be taken as screenshot and pasted. Next we take this code like still here and I will paste it here and then I will run it. Okay, this is how we get a screenshot. So now simply take screenshot of this one, function print screen, and as you have already practiced with some of the videos related to development of graphs, just cross check. So this is the iris is the package. In that we have taken all species related information. Then bind rows contains of iris total package. ggplot will be done for petal length and petal width. For color will be based on the species type. Okay, in the iris there will be different type of species. A petal length and petal width is taken and color will be related to the species. Now x-axis will consider petal length and y-axis consider petal width, and face wrap will be related for species. Scale is based on free. Okay, so now vector is like when we run this code, you get this kind of graphs. So if you cross check this one, similarly copy paste other codes and take full screenshots, submit in the document, and save your document and forward to me all the documents once in one mail. Send all the documents. Okay, so that is about the first task. Now I want you to take second document annotations with ggplot2. So copy library from, don't take these arrow marks, just copy library teddy words. Okay, so just run it. Next you copy and paste this code. According to the code, if you like based on the information that you learned from the sample videos, it is understood that when you want to change color of like dots or lines that are given inside it, we are supposed to use color. Okay, color function. So when you copy and paste this code, and when you run it, like this we got. Okay, so if you see that the dots are not in blue. So why the dots are not in blue? Because the function we wrote here might be not correct. Okay, so this blue should not be declared here. Maybe it should be declared differently. So let me show you what is the correct code that we have to write to ensure that the color is shown in blue. As I told you, copy the question and try to search it on internet. Okay, so you will get some like actual the original training pages where you can get proper answer related to that. Okay, so I'm searching we have plenty sources, but here I am searching using this link. Okay, J. Arnold link. This we can do that. So here it is. Here what happened, what's gone wrong with the code? It is like the argument color blue is inclined with the mapping argument, such as it is treated as aesthetic, which is mapping between variable and a value. In the expression, color blue is interpreted as categorical variable which only takes a single blue value. If this is confusing, color, consider now color 1 to 234, color is equal to 1 and interpreted by. So the actual one is like here we have included color blue in AES. This should be out of AES like this. When it is out of AES, here AES in brackets, it is given here as inside AES the color blue is included, right? If we get the color blue outside of AES, it automatically generates blue color. Let us try with this one. So I need not to copy and paste this code, but I'm just showing it because you can try this one here. Okay, so when you tried it, it is shown the graph is showing in blue color. So what it is explaining, so because in this code there is an error. What is the error? The color blue is taken inside the AES. Because of that reason, AE color is considered as a variable for which the graph will be generated. So if you to make sure that the color value is properly used for coating the dots inside the color, you have to keep this color outside the AES. So what we have to do in AES, x-axis y-axis values should be included and color values should be out of this AES. So it should be written in this format to get graph dots in blue color. That is what explained here. Similarly, you can cross check with next values also. So let me cross check. So you need to give proper explanation here. Need not to use any image or need not to modify any code. The reason why we are getting red color dots rather than getting blue color dots, that should be explained here. Next, which variable in MPG are categorical, which variables are continuous? Hint, the type MPG to read documentation for the data set. How can you see this information when you run MPG? So now let us see what happens. So when you run, you take simply MPG and click run, and you can see this code here. In this, there are some of the values that are categorical values. Categorical means which consists of textual data. So there are some values which has numerical values. Okay, which are categorical, which are non-categorical, that should be explained here. So even if you take the explanation document, so here we can see these are the categorical values which takes text values as input. You can mention 2 or 3 variable names which takes categorical values, and there are some values, some variables that takes continuous values, which means integer type or decimal type of values. You can mention 1 or 2 variable names as continuous variables. Simply you write what you write like this. The continuous variables, the continuable variables are some x, y, z. You from the output you can write it. Then you write the categorical variables are some x, y, z. In that way you can write. Okay. By that, second answer is done. Next, read the content. You will understand the question. Map a continuous variable to color, size, shape. How these aesthetics behave differently for categorical versus continuous values. So for example, we have color, size and shape, 3 different variables. If we assign a continuous variable to these values, how they behave, that should be explained. So if you give it to color, the color will be increasing. For example, if color is equal to color blue is equal to 1 is given, maybe what happens, the color will be of low size. If 10 is given, more thick blue can be observed. Okay, even if you take it for size, if you take 1 centimeter is equal to 1, a small circle will be given. For a circle, if radius r is equal to 1 is given, maybe very small circle will be plot. If size is given as 10, when compared to 1 value, the size of circle that is will be drawn for 10 will be large. Okay, for color and size, the color thickness will be increased if a continuous variable is allocated to color, and if size variable takes integer value, the size of the shape, whatever the shape that is given, that will be increased. But here, when you give some continuous value to the shape, it will not take, it will generate error, because shape is, for shape we have to mention some what kind of shape it will be. Okay, so it cannot take continuous variable. That will be the answer for third question. If you take fourth one, what happens if you map same variable to multiple aesthetics? That I need to cross check. You can see that if you ever used Photoshop kind of thing, you will understand when same multiple aesthetics is used, what happens is usually the thickness increases, but however the plot works without generating any errors. But it is not useful. We cannot use, like, we cannot say not used. We can use, but it is not necessary to use same aesthetics again and again. Okay, so it becomes redundant. Because it is redundant, most of the cases what happens is it avoid mapping. to ensure that confusion is not existing in your code. Okay, so if you allocate multiple asterisks, what happens, sometimes you might confuse, so which code works properly, which code don't work properly. It is not possible to understand if you give some wrong information there. Okay, so to avoid confusion, it is not required to include multiple aesthetics, multiple mappings to same aesthetic. It is better you use single mapping. What does the stroke aesthetic do? So when we use stroke, see, for example, you have a small single circle. If a stroke is used, based on the stroke value, the outer line thickness will be increasing. Okay, there will be thickness for outer line, right? That outer line thickness will change based on the stroke value. So you read it, when you read this information, you definitely understand. Okay, these are continuous questions. Based on the continuous questions, you can read the question, you can understand, you can execute the code, and you can understand what is happening with the document, what is happening in the graph. For example, if you take this graph, if color display less than 5 is not given, maybe total color will be in unique color. Okay, because of using this condition here, the values that are less than 5 will be displayed in different color, and values that are greater than 5 are displayed in different color. So this color defines when the given condition is true, and this color defines when the given condition is false. Okay, by this your annotation tasks are completed. You can save your answers and you can close this document. And now you are left with the third question, basic graphs with ggplot. Similarly, you just copy this tidyverse and paste it. Now go to 3.24 express exercise, just copy this code and see, you need to read the question. If you don't read the question, you will face it a difficulty. Now just run this one. What happens? It shows an empty plot, nothing is included. So ggplot data is equal to mpg. A mpg file is created here. You take a screenshot of this one, copy paste here, and mention that is an empty plot is generated. Then how many rows are in mpg, how many columns? This you can get by using this code dim mpg that is given here. So if people are not reading the question, that's the reason why you need an explanation video. Okay, so when you use this dimension, just simply click it, you will get dimension 234 and 11. You got certain number of rows and columns. Okay, so for that one, I just come to 3.1 introduction section. So when we plot this one 3.2.1, what happened? An empty plot is given. This is clearly explained here. When you clicked mpg, maybe like dim mpg, you got 234 and 11. So that using that command, you can explain like how many rows and columns. Otherwise you can use this code n row mpg n column. So not required this one. You just simply use this code and mention 234 rows are there and 11 columns are there. Okay, so next question is third question. What does drv variable describe? That is given here. You just read it and understand. Okay, so answer that. Next, make a scatter plot of hwy versus cyl. So here this is the code that we are supposed to use. You just copy this code and paste it here, run it, you got this code. So same thing, right? So similar kind of graph. You just take screenshot of this one and paste it in your document. Okay, we have addressed this question. Next, what happens if you make a scatter plot of class versus drv? Why is the plot not useful? So when you create this one, just already gave, no, they didn't give our question solution. You just take this one, class versus drv, you copy paste it in the code, you just run it and you will get this kind of code. So what happens usually, scatter plot explains the relationship between selected two variables. Now these dots are distributed throughout the document, throughout the graph, and there is no proper relation that can be established using this graph. So because there is lot of difference between each point, and most of the points are away from central tendency. Means if you take this as a central line, okay, the line that connects these three dots, these three dots are away from the central line, and these five dots are also away from the central line. In that context, it is very difficult for us to establish relationship between these two variables. So see, this kind of graphs are always not useful. You read this content, it will be helpful for you to understand it. Okay, so make sure you read it properly, you understand it, and explain it in a better way. All right, thank you very much.